So hello guys, welcome back to the Market Outlook series. It's CalFX here. So in today's video, we will look at a few pairs and some of the moves that we're able to get ourselves involved in. And pretty much, just to say right off the bat, I kind of look forward for the next week. And the reason for that is because we have a lot of news for the euro and the US dollar. This week, actually, I didn't like, this last week, I didn't like EUR-USD, especially because I'm only looking at EUR-USD. So I didn't like the lower time frame price action of EUR-USD. It was kind of tricky because sometimes we thought we were bullish, we were bearish. If you look from the daily time frame, of course, we were bearish, right? But sometimes on the lower time frame, such as 15-minute, the price action was kind of tricky. Sometimes we will see breaks of structures to the upside, then to the downside, and then price will just violate the POIs. So I really didn't like this week. I didn't take any trades because I was only looking at USD, so I didn't take any trades. I had a couple trades that I had, price didn't tag me, but it is what it is, right? It's just how the markets are. That's pretty much how EUR-USD is. Sometimes the pair is there are weeks that EUR-USD is just providing, and there are weeks that are kind of choppy, right? But I'm really looking forward for this week. We have a lot of news for the euro and dollar, so we will definitely see a lot of momentum and volume in the markets, right? So just to start, we can start with the EUR-USD, which is the pair that we always start with. And I would really like to take you guys to this yearly time frame, right? Let's just look at the Vantage source right here, and let's just type 12 months time frame just to look at the yearly time frame of EUR-USD, and we will see something interesting that is happening right now, right? If you look at what's going on, we can clearly see that we had this structure high, low, right? And then we had this high, low, and then we have the high. So we can clearly see that from the yearly time frame, EUR-USD is bullish, right? We have this pretty much solidified structure, high and lows right here. The lows are just being protected, the highs are being liquidated. So we have this bullish structure, right, pushing to the upside right here. And we can clearly see that if I zoom in, right, a little bit more, we can see the price just tapped this yearly bullish order block right here, right? So this is just I think we may see EUR-USD start to push to the upside, right? But for that, actually, I wouldn't go straight to the lower time frames to look for buys just to be first in the market. I think that's something that we really need to stress about this, right? We don't have to be first in the markets so we can really profit, right? Just let price show their cards, right? Wait for the right confirmations, and we can all get involved at the right time, right? So we can clearly see that from the yearly time frame, EUR-USD is bullish, right? And it just tapped this order block right here. So what I would like to see on EUR-USD, let me just go to the monthly time frame, to the weekly time frame, right? Let me just go back to Vantage. I'm sorry. Just a second. Okay. So, okay, price just tapped our yearly time frame, right? Yearly order block. What I would, as you can see from the weekly time frame, we can clearly see that the structure is still bearish, right? We have this, we had the low, the high, the low, the high, and pretty much we can see that the weekly time frame is still bearish. So what I would like to see, and what I would recommend, right, is just pretty much so we can see a weekly change of carry. So I would like to see price actually taking out this high, right? And then I can just think to buy long term. So far, when we come to the weekly time frame, we can see that the structure is still bearish. So in order for me to buy, especially after price taps a yearly bullish order block, I would love to see a weekly change of character. And we know the change of character is not a confirmation of trend reversal. It's just the first sign of trend reversal, right? But only after the two breaks of structures on the weekly time frame, that's what we're actually seeing that bullish, that transition, right, from bearish to bullish. So as of now, I would just be waiting to see if price will break this previous weekly high, right? Pretty much just give us a change of character, and then I can start to think about long-term buys. But as of now, we can see that the structure is still bearish, right? It just tapped the yearly POI, but as we can see, I mean, the yearly POI still has a lot of room to breathe. So there is a possibility that we may see price tapping or the block, some bearish or the block and continue to the downside, and then we may see a push to the upside, right? But it's very important to understand so far that we just tapped the yearly bullish POI. So there's a possibility that we may see very shortly a weekly change of character or a continuation to the downside, and then maybe later on we may see the change of character. So let me just go back. Now let's go back to the daily time frame and see what's going on. So if we look at the daily time frame, right, I mean, we can clearly see that the daily structure is heavily bearish, right? I mean, just coinciding with the weekly, we see that if I drop down to the 2 hours time frame, right, we had this daily POI mitigation right here, right? Let me just go back to daily so you guys can see it. And we can clearly see that we had the structure low, then structure high, and then price broke this previous low, so we created this low. Then we actually saw price actually come into this daily order block right here, so we had a daily POI mitigation. So a daily POI mitigation, what I like to see is a hourly change of character. So it can be 2 hour or 1 hour change of character, right, inside the daily POI. So I hope you guys take note of this, right, because that's the great relationship that is established between the daily and 4 hour, right? Sometimes at a daily POI, we may wait for price to give us a 4 hour change of character. It can be 2 hours, just the same thing, right? So at daily POIs, I like to see hourly change of character. So let me just go down to the 2 hour time frame. And if you read the swing structure, right? If you look at the swing structure, we can see that we had this structure high, we had this low, and then price made this high towards the daily POI mitigation. So right now, what happened after was that we had this change of character, pretty much price taking the previous swing low. So we had a change of character right here from a swing structure perspective. Now what we're seeing is pretty much price coming up right towards this zone. If we go down, if I go back to the 4 hour time frame, we have this last up candle before the down move. We can see that the momentum, the bearish momentum actually started right here, right? So we can clearly see that this was the catalyst move that went on to take the 4 hour previous swing low, right? So we had the change of character. Now we're seeing this bullish order flow right here towards this refined POI. So I'm still waiting to see some reaction at this zone. Once price gets here, I will be waiting for a 15-minute change of character downside, pretty much just to give me a signal that, okay, now we're about to transition from bullish, from a bullish structure to bearish structure to take out the daily previous low. Right, so that's pretty much the so far the outlook that I have on EUR-USD. Right, so let's go to another pair, which is Aussie dollar. Now, Aussie dollar, right, we can start from the weekly time frame on Aussie dollar, right? And what we can see is that Aussie dollar is, from a monthly time frame, is bearish, right? We can see that we had the structure low, structure high, and then a structure low. This low right here failed to take out the previous high. So what happens? It becomes weak, it's bound to be liquidated. So we can see that from the monthly time frame, we've been able to situate ourselves here. We're bearish, right? The structure is bearish. So let's go down to the weekly, or we can go down to the daily time frame, right? So on the daily time frame, what we can see, right, we had this, I mean, the structure is just heavily bearish right here. And we can see something very interesting right here on currently on Aussie dollar, right? We can see that we had this solidified low, then solidified high, then that made this previous low, right? So what we're pretty much seeing is now we have a reaction at this zone. Pretty much this actually is above 50% of this range low and high, right? So we're currently having a reaction at this zone, and we still have this one right here at the top. We can see that this week is higher than the previous week. So this means that this is actually a liquidity week. If I drop down to the 4 hour, we're able to see that much clearly, right? We can see that we have this nice 2 bullish candle, then this strong candle right here to the downside. We can see that this order block right here, this was pretty much the catalyst move that went on to take this previous solidified low, right? And now we actually see Aussie dollar pushing towards these zones right here. Right now, if you, for example, if you remember the retail concepts, right, we can see that this actually was a zone of traffic. We had this tap, second tap right here, and then we have a break. So pretty much this coincides with the break and retest zones. I see that a lot of retail concept traders are looking as well at this zone right here. We can see that we had these taps and then price broke. So they're looking for the retest of this area and probably a confirmation, a sell to the downside, right? So I will be, we will be monitoring as well this POI and this POI above as well. So whenever price actually comes to my 4-hour POIs, I usually like to see a 15-minute change of character to the downside as a confirmation that, you know, the sales, I mean, we've had that exchange from bullish to bearish, right? That exchange of weak hands to strong hands. So I want to see on the 15-minute time frame a change of character, right, to the downside, so I can then start to look for sales. But as of now, we actually have this supply reaction right here, and then we also have this one in case this one gets violated, right? We have this extreme as well. So that's pretty much it. I mean, for Aussie dollar so far, I mean, there's nothing to look at on the lower time frame. You can see that we have this huge momentum. You know, pretty much price just grabbed all this liquidity that was sitting up here, right? So all of that was just grabbed. You can see the huge momentum that came in. So we can see that institution's involvement at this particular time, right? All the way inside, I mean, towards this supply zone. So I will be waiting for 15-minute change of character. In case this POI gets violated, I will be monitoring price action at this point of interest as well. So let's move to another pair. So GBP-USD, right? I mean, if you look at GBP-USD from a monthly time frame, we can see that, I mean, the monthly is just heavily bearish. I mean, pound, especially with the news that came up just about 3 weeks ago on the tax cuts, it just created a huge drop on the pound. So I'm seeing pound pretty much, we see that price just broke that previous monthly low right here. Now we actually saw this huge rejection. I mean, we just seen that pullback starting on the pound, right? So let me just drop down to the weekly time frame, I mean to the daily time frame, right? So we can see that on the daily, let me just delete this. The daily is heavily bearish right now. We just had this daily POI mitigation right here. This actually was an order block that I marked on the previous Market Outlook series. So if you guys watch, you probably saw me constantly marking this POI. Actually, that was a point of interest that we were looking at, daily POI mitigation. And as we know, a daily POIs, I always look for a hourly change of character, right? So I dropped down to the 2 hours time frame. What I look for is I saw that we had exactly the same thing that happened on EUR-USD, right? We had this high, right? This is a solidified swing high and swing low. Everything that you guys see right here is just internal structure inside this bullish range right here. This is the bullish range low and high, right? So everything that has happened here is just that internal price action, right? Or internal structure inside the swing highs, right? So we have this swing high, low, and then we had this high. What happened? We had this hourly change of character, exactly what I wanted to see, especially after a daily POI mitigation. So we had price actually coming to the extreme, right, of this daily, of this hourly change of character right here. We have this POI mitigation. What happened? If you look at the swing structure as well, inside this range, 4-hour range high and 4-hour range low, we can see that we had this structure high, structure low, then structure high. What happened? Price just broke that low, so we created the change of character right here, right? So pretty much this is how we do a top-down analysis, so you can better situate yourself on the lower time frames, right? We want to make sure we understand what's going on the higher time frame. So we saw that we went from the weekly, I mean from the monthly to the daily, and then we look for the hour. After a daily POI mitigation, we look for the hourly change of character. So if you ask me, okay, what is the range of the hourly time frame, is that we had this high, low, and high. We had what? The change of character. So what happens? Now this becomes our range high, and this is our range low. So everything that is happening right here, we're just having that internal price action inside the 4-hour change of character range high and low, right? So we're still inside this bearish range. This is just a bearish range yet, right? So we had this high, low, and then high is into the 4-hour extreme POI mitigation. Then we had the change of character right here on the hourly again. So if I look, this POI right here actually refined to the 30 minutes. Let's go down to the 30-minute time frame. I mean, let me just go back to 1 hour time frame so you guys can see something interesting, right? Is that, you know, what happened is that we had this high, right? Then we had this low, and then we had this high. What happened is that price actually came to the extreme right here. So we had this pretty much this demand reaction. The reason for that is because this actually was this decisional demand that was responsible for finally taking out this previous high. So we had a reaction here. What happened? This low, his job was supposed to create a new high. What happened? We had a high reluctance here. So price actually violated this low. So then we had the mitigation right here of this order block that were responsible for taking out this low right here, right? So I want you guys to really be able to understand the play that happens on the swing structure and internal price action. All of this that is happening here is just inside the swing structure high and low. So this was still, all this price action, this bearish price action was still happening inside the 4-hour swing high and low. I mean, the bullish swing high and low, right? So we had the break of structure here. We just had a mitigation, right there, mitigation. And then we had finally price breaking this low right here and taking out the hourly previous low, right? So we had these two breaks of structure right here. Price just now came back. If we go to the 30-minute time frame, we'll be able to see this nice candle right here. And we're now having a mitigation right there. Usually at 30 minutes, at a 30-minute order blocks, usually what I like to see, especially on a 30-minute POI mitigation, I like to go drop down straight to the 3 minutes or 1 minute time frame so I can look for sales, right? But in this scenario, I mean, we can still wait to see some sort of 15-minute change of character, right? If I go down to the 15-minute, we can see that, you know, we had this high, we had this low, and then we had this high. So we can wait for price to come down and take out this low, right? A change of character, and then we can sell to the downside, right? But because it's on a 30-minute POI, I usually like to drop down to 3 minutes time frame and look for sales, right? So that's it for, I mean, for GBP-USD so far. I mean, pretty much from a high time frame, everything is still bearish, right? So I'm still looking for sales unless we see price actually taking out this daily, right? This daily previous high right here. So let's move to another pair, right? So New Zealand dollar, right? New Zealand dollar, we can start from the monthly time frame. And if you look at the monthly time frame, we can see that New Zealand dollar is bullish, right? We had, if you mark the swing structures, right? We had the swing structure high, we had the swing structure low, then price actually pushed, pulled back, and then another break of structure right there. So we had the two breaks of structure, right? Pretty much just showing us that bullish momentum still in control, right? We can see that price actually had grabbed this previous structure low. This is pretty much what we call inducement. We see that we had relative equal lows right here. So what happened? Price actually, the institutions engineered a large sell order to grab all this liquidity, and then immediately they push to the upside. So what happens? What happens is that when they actually engineer this sell orders to take out liquidity, they don't use stop losses. Because if they use a stop loss and they bought immediately, they would be accepting a loss on this sell. And we know these guys are very greedy, right? So what happens is that they leave the position open, then they have to come back to this POI right here, because that's where the buy orders were stacked up right here. So they need to come back and close that sell position that was previously in drawdown at a little bit of profit, right? Or break even, right? So we're seeing pretty much we have this nice monthly bullish POI on New Zealand dollar. If I drop down to the daily time frame, we can see that, I mean, the structure on the daily is still bearish, right? I mean, we're just on that bearish order flow towards our bullish monthly POI. And if I go down, for example, I go to 4 hour, right? I had this POI during the week. I actually sent on the free Telegram group, right? I sent this very extreme order block. And the reason why this order block is very important, this is what we call institutional candle, right? You can just mark something like this, right? We can clearly see that this was the manipulation because we had this pool of liquidity that was engineered before. So we had these relative equal highs right here. What happened? Institutions stacked up buy orders, and the buy order actually started right here at this candle right here. You guys can clearly see this down candle before the up move right here. And we can see it actually had swept liquidity previously. So what happened? Price actually then they sold immediately to the downside. Now they're actually doing the RTO, which is a return to order block, pretty much to close that buy position at a little bit of profit. In which situation would they close this position at break even? This is what happened when they came, when we had a reaction in this zone right here. This is what we call breaker blocks, right? I hope you guys still remember what the difference between breaker blocks and order block. Breaker block is when they come and mitigate their previous positions and break even, and order blocks, that's when they actually get to close their position a little bit of profit. That's what we're seeing here. We had this first reaction right here because the buy order started here to take out all this liquidity. Then they sold immediately. They came back, closed the position and break even. Now they're pushing to, they're coming to the extreme, right? And we may see actually sell orders coming, at this, after this POI mitigation, right? So at 4-hour POIs, as you guys know, I always look for 15-minute change of character, right? So at 4-hour POIs, I would be waiting to see some 15-minute change of character. Let me just drop down to 15 minutes. And if we come to the 15-minute, we can see that the structure is still bullish right here, right? We still had this high, low, and price just made this high. So what I would like to see is price actually taking out this previous low. We have a mitigation, right? As we know, change of character is not a confirmation of trend shifts. It's just the first sign. In this particular case, it would just be the first sign of bearish intention. So I would like to see a second break of structure, and then we can just sell all the way towards our monthly bullish POI, right? So that's how we've been able to situate ourselves from the monthly all the way to the 15 minutes. So right here, we just established a game plan for New Zealand dollar, right? So let's move to another pair, USD-CAD, right? USD-CAD is quite interesting, right? Because if you look at what's going on in the EUR-USD, EUR-USD just tapped at the bullish POI, right? And if you look at USD-CAD, it just tapped at a monthly supply zone. So I'm still processing if we will really start to see actually the dollar doing a heavy pullback, right? I mean, that's what I'm hoping for. I mean, we have this bullish order block right here. I want to see if price actually would react here and then actually end up taking the previous high, because we pretty much have relative equal highs right here. I mean, this is just a double top right here. So that's liquidity engineering. There is a possibility we may see then price push to the upside to grab that high. So, but as of now, we just had this break of structure right here, right? We had this previous monthly break of structure, and now we have price actually doing a monthly POI mitigation. So a monthly POIs, what I usually like to see is a daily or 4-hour change of character, so I can sell. So let's drop down to the 4-hour time frame, and we will see something interesting going on right here. Is that we will see something interesting right here, right? Is that we had this 4-hour this mitigation play that is going on right here. Is that if you look at the swing structure, we had this high and low, and then what happened? Price actually took out this previous high right here. So what was responsible for taking out that high? It was this low right here, right? This low was responsible. So we had this previous low right here, right? So this low was responsible for taking out this previous high, and then it created this high. So now we had a change of character right here. We had a mitigation of the chalk POI, and now we have the second break of structure. So now right here, we just had that bearish order flow transition confirmed, right? We had the change of character, which is the first sign of bearish intention. We had the failed structure, this low failing to take out the previous high, and then we had the break of structure. So this is just a very pure and beautiful mitigation play going on right here on USD-CAD. So what I'll be waiting for, because this is a 4-hour POI, I mean, some people that don't have time, for example, those that don't like to deal with the lower time frame, a great option, one thing that you can do if you want to sell on a set and forget mode, you can set a limit right here with an 80 pip stop loss, right? And cover the invalidation point. This line of invalidation means that if price breaks this line, it will just invalidate this bearish order flow, right? So we can actually look for this, I mean, as a sell opportunity all the way to this daily POI right here. Let me just drop down to daily so you guys can see. This right here was that daily zone that was responsible for taking out this previous high. So we had this high, the low, then price pushed to the upside right here. So this is just a nice opportunity, I mean, to sell. This is a 1 to 7. That's a very nice risk to reward ratio. But as I always recommend, right, I always recommend going to lower time frame, pretty much just to increase your strike rate, right? So at 4-hour POI, as you guys know, I always look for the 15-minute change of character, right? So I will be looking for 15-minute change of character, and then I can sell all the way down, right? With a better confirmation, better risk to reward ratio, and pretty much the odds more in my favor, right? I mean, from the higher time frame, we just had all the confluences lined up, right? If we wanted to sell from the monthly, we just had this 4-hour change of character and the second break of structure. So I'll be looking for 15-minute change of character so I can sell all the way down, right? So that's it for USD-CAD. Let's move to another pair. So GJ, right? GBP, Japanese yen, right? So we can see that if you look from the daily time frame on the, let's just drop down to the weekly time frame so we can see this better, right? So on the weekly time frame, we can see that pretty much GJ has been bullish, right? I mean, what I remember a couple months ago, we had this break of structure to the upside, and I was looking at this order block right here, right? I mean, that's the outlook that I had sent on previously on the group. And what happened is that GJ just dropped this massive wick right here that ended up violating this order block right here, the extreme order block, and just grabbed this liquid. We can see that we had relative equal highs. I mean, we had the triple bottom right here. Price just grabbed with this wick right here, just grab all this liquidity right here. And then now we push to the upside to grab all this liquidity as well. So we can see that, I mean, from the weekly and daily, GJ is still bullish, right? I mean, even on the daily time frame, we had this body closure above this previous high. So we can see that there is still, I mean, a heavy bullish intention right here. So what I will be looking at is this point of interest right here, right? Because this actually was that down candle before the up move that finally went on to take this previous high. And on the daily, we had the body closure, right? So that's a good sign. There is a possibility the price may drop down all the way to this guy right here, because pretty much this low right here was responsible for grabbing all this liquidity right here that was sitting right here and all this, I mean, down below. Then we had this strong push to the upside right here. The move actually started at this low, but we have also these decisional order blocks, right? Because we have to understand that we have decisional order blocks and we have the extremes order blocks. So this pretty much will be the extreme zone of possible reaction, but we also have this very clean decision order block. So there's a possibility that we may see price actually reacting here to push to the upside. So because it's a daily POI, I would be recommending a hourly change of character, right? Such as 1 hour change of character, and then we can buy, right? But as of now, if we drop down, for example, to the 30 minutes, right? We can see that on the 30 minutes, we just had this beautiful, I mean, just a second. We just had this, we have now this sell opportunity, right? That we can sell all the way down to the daily POI, right? Especially as an intraday traders, right? If you read the structure, right? The swing structure, we have this high, low, and then this high. So what happened is that we were trading, right? Inside this range low and this range high. All of this is just internal price action. We finally had a break of structure right here, right? That's why I tell you guys, it's very important to differentiate between internal structures and swing structure. I'll actually pop up a link of the video where I really talked about it, which was on the market structure video. I'll actually pop up a link here for you guys to watch it. So right now, we just had a break of structure right here. This was the break of structure on the 15-minute. Right? So now we have this beautiful point of interest sitting up here. So I will just mark less up candle before the up move. We have the week. This week actually is higher than the previous week and was never mitigated. So there's a possibility that we may see price actually coming towards this guy right here. I mean, this point of interest sitting above. So I will be recommending to, I mean, because it's 30 minutes, you can go to 1 minute time frame or 3 minutes time frame to look for your confirmation. But for people that don't have time, you can just set a limit here, cover the high. What about 80 pip stop loss, right? Just to give a nice round number. And we know that the target is pretty much to bring price to this decisional daily PO point of interest, right? For 1 to 8 risk to reward ratio, which is very, 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 very good, right? So that's what I'll be looking at on GJ, right? Let's move to another pair. So gold, right? Gold, I personally don't trade gold. I mean, I really don't. Me personally, I don't really understand gold's price action, just to be honest, because sometimes gold is very volatile, right? And most of the times for the confirmation model that I use for my entries, I really haven't seen gold respecting that with a lot of consistency, right? But, gold is gold, right? That's a nice hedge against deflation. So we can see that from the monthly time frame, gold is heavily, is bullish, right? If you look at the swing structure, right, we had this previous high, previous low, then we had this high. So we can clearly see that the structure on gold is bullish, right? Now, we can drop down to the weekly time frame. I actually talked about this zone right here on the previous Market Outlook series videos, right? We were actually looking at this reaction inside this weekly POI. So at weekly POIs, what I usually look for as a weekly POIs, I look for 4-hour or daily change of character, right? So let me just drop down to, for example, let's use the 8-hour time frame, right? So we want to see an 8-hour change of character inside the weekly order block, right? Or POI. So what happened? We had this beautiful right here change of character. We had this previous low, previous high, then price made this low. What happened? We had a nice change of character, strong push to the upside right here. So we had pretty much an hourly change of character inside the weekly POI, right? So what happens? Soon price gets into this hourly POI. What I usually say is we want to look for 15-minute change of character, right? So let's drop down to the 30 minutes, or we can use, for example, the 1 hour, right? Let's just use the 1 hour, right? If you look at the 1 hour right here, we had a nice change of character inside that 4-hour POI. This actually, to be honest, let me just go back a little bit. We can see that this is kind of like a daily change of character right here, right? We just had this daily change of character, but the POI is actually were refined on the hourly time frame. So I can just state correctly, right, that this was a daily change of character. Then we drop down to the hourly time frame, right, to look for our change of character right here inside the daily POI. So we can see that we had just this very, very, very clean change of character right here. So we had a break of structure, and then we had this point of interest right here, this order block, less down candle before the up move. So what I'll be waiting for is to see price actually coming down. We can drop down to the 3 minutes time frame, 5 minutes to look for our low time frame confirmations. That's pretty much to increase the strike rate, and it's buys all the way to the upside, right? So we have just a very nice confirmation from an hourly time frame inside the daily point of interest, right? So that's it for gold, guys. Let's move to another pair. So US30, right? US30, we can start from the weekly time frame as we had done on the previous Market Outlook series, right? We can see the price actually, US30 just tapped this bullish order block that was responsible for taking out the previous high right here. So price just doing a weekly POI mitigations. What I like to do it weekly, I like to drop down to the daily time frame to look for daily change of character. So we can see that we had this solidified low, high, low, then price broke structure. We had a nice change of character. I think we can see this better on the 8-hour time frame. So, okay, we're right here on the 8-hour time frame. We can see that we had a change of character. As we know, change of character is not a confirmation of trend reversal. It's just the first sign of bullish intention in this case. what happened? We had a nice mitigation right here, and then we had the second break of structure. Then pretty much price just came to this or the block right here. We had this mitigation right here. Let me just use this line just to mark the mitigation zone. And now we had this nice third break of structure. So we can see that US 30 now is turning bullish, right? We're just seeing that bullish momentum kicking in on US 30. So we have this order block sitting right here. So what I'll be looking for, what I would recommend is to wait for price to come down to this POI. This is an 8 hour. So I would recommend a 15-minute change of character as a confirmation, so you can buy all the way up. But for those that don't like to deal with the lower time frames, I mean, you can refine the POI to this week because it's higher than the previous week. So this means that this is a liquidity week. And you can take the trade from this, I mean, from this point of interest all the way up. But as we know, this is just a risk entry. I would really recommend to wait for 15-minute change of character. Soon price gets into this POI, so we can buy all the way to the upside, right? So that's it for US 30. Simple, I mean, simple structure. We just read the structure, I mean, the best way possible. So let's move to another pair. So we are on Ethereum, right? Ethereum. So if you look at Ethereum from a monthly time frame, I mean, we know that, I mean, we have this nice bullish structure right here. We have this nice down candle before the up move right here. Let me just zoom in so we can clearly see what's going on right here. So we had this down candle before the up move that was responsible for taking out the monthly previous high. And we can see that there were still fair value gaps. I mean, we have imbalances left right here. We have this fair value gap. So this is just another confluence as to why price needs to come down to an order block. I actually make a video. I'll make a video to explain pretty much the confluences we need to see for a valid order block. I think it will be the next video coming in the next week, right? So we had the fair value gap, which is another confluence right here. We had huge volume, you know, that was engineered right here as a catalyst move to take out this monthly previous high. Now, what I'm predicting, right, to see happening on Ethereum is to see price actually coming down to this point of interest, and then we can see this major buys. I mean, just to take out this previous all-time high right here, right? So let me drop down to the weekly time frame. On the weekly time frame, I mean, we just had this low right here that then price push. I think we can see this better on the 8 hour time frame. I mean, on the daily time frame. Let me just drop to daily. Just a moment. Okay, yes. So we can see that we had this structure, I mean, this solidified low, right? Then we had the high, and then price made this low. So what happened? Price just came all the way up to do a this daily POI mitigation right here, this zone mitigation right here. And then what happened? This actually is the weekly structure, right? So what happened is that inside the weekly POIs, we want to see that daily change of character. We can beat the hourly change of character, right? So we can see that we had a nice change of character. We had price doing a mitigation above 50% of this leg right here, from this low to this high. So price came a little bit above 50% to do a mitigation. Then we had the second break of structure. So we had that supply chain right here. I mean, just beautifully presented right here. We had the daily 2 breaks of structure. That bearish order flow transition was confirmed. Right now, what we're seeing is I mean, for so long, even if you look at the first video that I made on the Market Outlook series, we still had Ethereum on this consolidation right here. So what this means is that as of now, we have in this an equilibrium of the buy orders and sell orders, right? So we're most likely, we will see a breakout. What I wanted to see, pretty much, I'm still waiting to see price actually coming towards this point of interest, and then we can sell to take out this week low, right? Because this low failed to take out this previous high, so it becomes weak, it's bound to be liquidated. So what I want to see is that price, once price gets to daily POI, I would recommend you to look for 15-minute, I mean, for hourly change of character, right? So a nice change of character, and then we can sell all the way down, right? To take out the weekly previous low, right? So guys, that's it. I mean, that's pretty much the outlook that I have for the next week. And if you guys would like to see the chart, right? I mean, I would really recommend you guys to, I mean, join the free Telegram group, right? I mean, here I always share every single day. So I always share the setups on the pair. I actually update also the setups as the day go by, right? And sometimes I share a nice opportunity for you guys to enter on lower time frames. If you guys would like to have, I mean, a mentorship, you can just, I mean, feel free to contact me, right? So that's it, guys, for the market outlook. I hope you guys have an incredible week. If you guys really like the video, make sure you smash the like button for me. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, and I see you guys on the next time.